Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it go. You are safe. You are warm. There is nowhere you need to be tonight. Nothing you need to do. The only thing that exists right now is this moment, this breath, and the sound of gentle rain falling softly outside. Let the rain carry you somewhere peaceful. Imagine, if you will, a narrow winding road along the edge of a rocky coastline. It is evening, late autumn, the kind of evening where the sky turns a deep, bruised shade of blue just before the darkness settles in completely. The air smells of salt and wet earth and pine. The trees along the roadside are tall and dark, their branches reaching inward over the path like the arms of gentle giants offering shelter. You are walking slowly along this road. There is no hurry. There never is on evenings like this. Your footsteps are soft against the damp gravel. Each step lands quietly, deliberately. The rain has only just begun, barely more than a mist at first, a cool whisper against your cheeks and the backs of your hands. You pull your coat a little closer, not because you are cold, but because it feels good. That satisfying tightening of warmth around your shoulders when the evening air begins to cool. Ahead of you, just visible through the trees, is a light. Steady, golden, unwavering. It sweeps slowly across the sky, once, twice, and then disappears behind the tree line before returning again a moment later. Patient and reliable as breathing. The lighthouse. You have been walking toward it for a while now, though the time has passed so gently that you barely noticed. That is the kind of road this is. The kind that makes you forget about clocks. As you round the last bend, the trees open up and there it is. The lighthouse stands at the very edge of a rocky promontory, a tall white tower rising from a cluster of low stone buildings below. The light at the top rotates in its slow, eternal rhythm, casting long warm arcs across the water below and the low clouds above. Around the base of the tower, a small cottage sits snug against the rock, its windows glowing amber, curtains drawn, smoke curling lazily from the chimney. You stand still for a moment and simply look at it. There is something about the sight of a lit window in the darkness that does something to the chest. Something warm and settling. A reminder that somewhere, someone is inside. Safe and comfortable. That warmth exists in the world even when the night is wide and cold and dark. The rain is falling more steadily now. Soft, consistent, unhurried. It patters against the stone path leading up to the cottage door. It collects in small pools between the rocks. It runs in thin silver threads down the white walls of the lighthouse tower. It fills the air with that deep, clean smell of rain on stone that is one of the most comforting things in the world. You walk up the path to the cottage door, and you knock softly. After a moment, the door opens, and there is Thomas. He is an old man, not frail, but weathered. The kind of weather that comes from decades of sea wind and salt air and long quiet nights. His face is deeply lined, his white hair slightly disheveled, his eyes the particular shade of grey-blue that you only ever seem to find in people who have spent their whole lives looking at the sea. He is wearing a thick wool sweater the colour of oatmeal and old canvas trousers and heavy socks. He is holding a mug of something steaming in one hand. He looks at you with a calm, unhurried expression, as if he has been expecting you, though he has never met you before. As if visitors always arrive exactly when they are supposed to. "Come in," he says simply. And you do. The warmth hits you the moment you step through the door. It is the particular warmth of a room with a real fire, deep and enveloping and alive in a way that no radiator or heater ever quite manages to replicate. The kind of warmth that settles into your bones and loosens the tension from your shoulders and makes the whole world feel like it is operating at a lower, gentler speed. The cottage is small but perfectly arranged. To your left, a stone fireplace takes up almost the entire wall. A fire burns inside it, not roaring, but steady and generous, a deep bed of glowing embers beneath a slow, crackling flame. The wood pops softly every now and then, a small domestic percussion that punctuates the quiet. On the mantelpiece above the fire sit a row of objects, a brass compass, a small glass bottle filled with sea glass, a faded photograph in a slowly and without hurry, A candle burned halfway down. He grew up inland, a low wooden bookshelf in a small town surrounded by flat farmland, tightly, a long way from any mix of faded colors. He had never seen blues and greens until he was 14 years old. Some of them are very old. Drove the family in a rattling old car for most of a day to reach. A few have slips of paper tucked between the standing at the edge of the beach with his shoes still on. Several have been read so many times that they no longer close just fully. Trying to understand that this was slightly open, as if always mid-center. That's something so large and so alive existed in the same world facing the narrow streets at a comfortable fields he had grown up. Both are upholstered in a dark green really fabric, got over slightly worn at the armrests, with thick cushions that look as though they would hold you like a hand. Not a sad smile. A low wooden table between just them a true second mug. A small plate of shortbread biscuit, fishing boats, and an open working face down water. The kind of thing you only do with cold a book work when you are certain you will be back to it soon. The kind of work that the teaches you things about yourself in that you might not have discovered any other way. Reds and blues. He learned that he didn't mind being low and wooden beamed. That he actually preferred the windows are in many ways and deep set. The company of wide open you can see the rain streaking down the glass in long. Wandering he learned that he could find something almost broken only by the slow sweep of the lighthouse, mending nets, coiling ropes. It is scanning horizons. One of the most comfortable rooms that you have ever been in. For all its vastness, Thomas gestures like to one of the armchairs. He pauses to take a slow sip of tea. I'll get you something warm. The rain continues its steady conversation with the wind. It is exactly as soft as it looks. When the opportunity came to train cushions compress slowly around, he says, holding your weight less with a kind of quiet and more like a recognition. You lean your head like back, something that had already been decided. You feel the fires below the level of your face and your hands, and the front he had to do was agree. You hear the rain to this lighthouse in his early 40s, the crackle of the fire. He has been here ever since. Distant, low moan of the wind around the corner of the building. You ask, not threatening. Just it is present. A genuine question. Ask just reminding you that outside is outside and inside is Thomas inside. Considers it for and a right moment. Now you are firmly. He looks at the fire. You let your eyes close slowly in his hands. Just for a moment. Sometimes, he says, Thomas returned with a mug and in the beginning to you more than later. It is tea. You have to learn how to be strong and dark in your own with a generous pour of milk and something most else. People never something really do. Smells faintly of honey and dried flowers. They fill every quiet moment. You wrap noise. Your hands around the mug and feel quiet. The warmth travel through your palms. It's something you have to get used and forearms. Like your eyes Thomas adjusting settles into the other armchair. chair with the practiced ease of a man who has done so 10,000 times. You start seeing things you never noticed before. Neither of you speaks. He glances toward the window. Entirely fine. The lighthouse beam. There are silences that are uncomfortable, that stretch and trickle and demand to be filled. After a while, there are silences that are restful. The quiet starts to feel full. This is the second kind. You hear the fire differently. You notice the way the light changes, and a small cascade of sparks. You start to understand that there's a difference between being alone. The rain taps against the glass. Alone is a condition. The lighthouse beam sweeps its slow arc outside. And you take a sip of tea and feel it trace a warm path all the way down. Back at the fire. You let your shoulders drop an inch in a very long time, he says quietly. Outside, after a while, the sea moves. Thomas sets down his mug in distant way. Would you like to see it faintly beneath the rain? A deep, rhythmic pulse immediately at the edge of hearing. Not the waves crashing, but the ocean breathing. You follow him out of the cottage and into the base slow of the inhalation and exhalation of something impossibly large and impossibly old. A narrow stone staircase winds not a frightening spiral. It is the sound of something that has always been there and will always be there. Footsteps echo softly by the small concerns Thomas of the climbs world. Ahead of you at a steady, unhurried pace. When you really listen a journey he has made so many times that his feet know every step. Thomas takes a sip from his own mug. The rain sounds keeping this inside for 31 years. He says, muffled and distant, not loudly. It taps not with any thick stone emphasis. In a gentle, irregular just rhythm. Offering the information the way every you might seconds the beam above rotates, and you can see a thin slice of its light through the small window set into the stairwell wall. You look at him, pale gold, 31 years, unwavering, he says again. You climb, almost never get tired of one step, then another. The world below grows smaller and more distant, and you let it. You let the concerns of the day, the things undone, the messages unanswered, the thoughts that have been circling, you let them settle slowly to the ground like leaves. They will still be there in the morning. Tonight they can rest. Tonight you are climbing a lighthouse staircase in the rain, and that is enough. At the top, Thomas opens a heavy door and you step out onto the gallery. The wind is here, and not fierce, but present, a low steady pressure against your face and your coat. The rain touches your skin lightly, just a few drops, the rest carried past by the wind. The view opens up in every direction. Below, the sea. dark and vast and barely visible except where the lighthouse beam catches the surface of the waves and throws them into brief, glittering relief. Beyond that, nothing. Just the deep, soft dark of the ocean stretching out to where it meets the sky. Behind you, the coastline, the dark shapes of the hills, a few distant lights, a village, perhaps a farmhouse, a road, small warm points in the darkness like embers scattered across a cold hearth. Above you, the stars, only just visible between the moving clouds, but they're steady and ancient, doing what they have always done, completely indifferent to the weather below them. And beside you, the light. It is larger up close than you might have imagined. The great glass lens rotates with a smooth, mechanical patience, sending its beam out across the water in long, even sweeps. You can feel the warmth of it when it passes close. You can hear the low hum of its rotation. It has been doing this, you realize, for longer than you have been alive. Turning, warning, guiding. Every night, in every weather, in every season, asking for nothing in return. Thomas stands beside you at the railing, looking out at the water. On clear nights, he says quietly, you can sometimes see other lights out there. Other ships, other beacons. It's a kind of conversation, in a way. Lights talking to each other across the dark. You look out at the water. You cannot see any other lights tonight. Just the rain and the dark and the slow, breathing sea. But somehow, knowing they are out there, on the other side of the weather, on the far edge of the horizon, feels like enough. You stand there together for a little while. The wind and the rain and the turning light and the sea. Then Thomas says, gently, shall we go back in? And you say yes. Back in the cottage, the warmth wraps around you again like something alive. You settle back into your armchair. Thomas adds another log to the fire with practiced ease, and for a moment the flames rise and brighten, sending warm light dancing across the ceiling and the spines of the books and the objects on the mantelpiece. Then they settle back to their steady, reliable burn. Thomas picks up his book from the table. You pick up yours, one that was waiting for you, as it turns out, on the small table beside your chair. You don't question how it got there. These things sometimes simply are. For a long time you simply read. Or rather, you hold the book and let your eyes rest on the words and let your mind wander where it wants to go. The fire crackles. The rain continues outside. The lighthouse beam sweeps its slow rounds. Occasionally Thomas turns a page. Occasionally you take a sip of tea. The shortbread biscuits are good. Slightly sweet, slightly salty, the way good shortbread always is. You eat one slowly, appreciating it. The clock on the mantelpiece ticks very softly. Outside, the wind has eased a little. The rain continues, but gently, steadily, without urgency. It is the kind of rain that settles in for the night and has no intention of hurrying anywhere. At some point Thomas says, quietly, there's a room made up upstairs if you'd like to stay. You look up from your book. He is not looking at you, just at the fire. He says it the way someone says something that goes without saying. It's not much, he adds. A bed and a window. The sound of the rain. The light going around. He takes a sip of tea. Most people find it restful, he says. The room upstairs is exactly as he described. A bed, narrow but deeply comfortable, with thick white sheets and a heavy woolen blanket in dark green. A pillow that holds just the right amount of softness. A small window set deep in the stone wall, rain-streaked, looking out over the dark water. And beyond the glass, visible through the rain, the slow turning of the light. You sit on the edge of the bed. The floor is wooden and cool beneath your feet. The rain on the window is very close here. You can hear every individual drop, a gentle and varied percussion that shifts and patterns itself constantly without ever becoming irritating or loud. It is, you realize, one of the most pleasing sounds you have ever heard. The sound of rain on an old window in a lighthouse by the sea on a quiet autumn night. You wonder if you will sleep here. Then you think, of course you will. Of course. You lie down and pull the blanket up. It is heavier than you expected, and the weight of it is immediately wonderful. That sense of being gently held in place, of being pressed softly into the mattress, of the world being given permission to stop asking anything of you for a while. You turn your head slightly on the pillow. Through the window, the lighthouse beam sweeps past. 1, 2, 3. Gone. Then back again. 1, 2, 3. The rain continues. Soft, steady, patient. Downstairs, faintly, you can hear the fire. A distant, comfortable crackle. The sound of something warm and alive keeping watch in the room below. You think about Thomas sitting in his armchair by the fire. 31 years of this. 31 years of evenings like this one. 31 years of rain on the windows and fire in the hearth and the light going around and around above. 31 years of the sea breathing in the dark outside. 31 years of knowing, without needing to think about it, that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. That sounds, you think, like an extraordinarily good life. The beam sweeps past again. 1, 2, 3. Your breathing slows. The rain speaks quietly to the window. You listen to it without trying to understand it, just letting the sound wash over you the way you might let warm water run over your hands. There is nothing to understand. There is no meaning to find. There is only the sound itself, and the warmth of the blanket, and the rise and fall of your own breathing. In and out. In and out. The lighthouse beam sweeps its slow arc outside. You watch it move across the ceiling, a pale, traveling light that comes and goes and comes and goes. It has no urgency. It has no impatience. It simply does what it has always done, turning and turning in the dark, patient and faithful and kind. Somewhere far below, the sea breathes. You can hear it at the very edge of your hearing, that low, rhythmic presence that has been there all along, beneath everything else. The sound of the waves is not crashing or violent. It is the sound of the sea in a quiet mood, rolling and withdrawing, rolling and withdrawing, like the breathing of something enormous and deeply asleep. You let your eyes close, not because you are trying to sleep, just because they want to. And that is reason enough. The world gets softer. The sound of the rain becomes less like individual drops and more like a continuous texture, a gentle hiss and whisper that wraps around the room. The crackle of the fire downstairs comes to you as a faint warmth, not a sound so much as a feeling. The lighthouse beam, when it sweeps past, registers as a change in the light behind your closed eyelids. Barely there. Just a pale suggestion. You feel yourself sinking. Not downward, that is not quite the right word. Inward, perhaps. Deeper and deeper into the warmth and the quiet, the way a stone sinks through clear water, slowly, peacefully, without resistance. You think of nothing in particular. An image surfaces for a moment, something from earlier in the day, some small ordinary thing, and then it dissolves without leaving anything behind. Another thought begins and then loses its shape before it finishes. This is not a problem. You are not trying to think. You are not trying to do anything at all. You are just here, in this small room, in this lighthouse, by the sea, in the rain. The rain continues. It will continue all night, you know. It has that quality, the quality of rain that has settled in for the long hours, that has made itself at home in the air and has no intention of leaving until morning at the earliest. This is not unwelcome news. This is the best possible news. The lighthouse beam sweeps. 1, 2, 3. The fire downstairs speaks its quiet language. The sea breathes. In the room, time does something different. It does not stop exactly, but it becomes less linear, less insistent. The minutes do not press themselves forward demanding to be counted. They simply pass, one after another, quietly and without ceremony, the way water moves in a slow river. You are not tracking them. You have no reason to. The only measure of time is the turning of the light. every few seconds, patient, reliable, kind. Your body feels very still. Your arms are heavy in the best possible way. Your legs have sunk into the mattress. Your head rests in the pillow as if it has always rested there. The blanket holds you with the same gentle weight it had when you first lay down. Nothing has changed. Everything is exactly as it was. That is the point. That is the whole beautiful point. Nothing changes here. The rain falls. The light turns. The sea breathes. The fire crackles. And you lie in this narrow bed in this stone room at the top of the world, held by all of it, carried by all of it, needing nothing, wanting nothing, perfectly and completely still. You are almost asleep now. Not quite. There is still some thin thread of awareness connecting you to the room, to the sound of the rain, to the turning light. But it is very thin now. Very fine. Like the last light of a candle just before it goes out. Present, but barely. The rain, the light, the sea, in and out, in and out. You think of Thomas downstairs. Or perhaps you don't think of him exactly. Perhaps you simply feel the warmth of knowing he is there. Someone keeping watch. Someone who has kept watch for 31 years without fail, in all weathers, through all nights, while other people slept. There is something deeply comforting in that. In knowing that someone is keeping watch. That the light is turning. That the sea is being attended to. That you do not have to do anything tonight except exactly this. Lie here in the warmth and the dark and the sound of the rain, and let the night carry you where sleep wants to take you. You go there now, without resistance, without effort. You simply let the thread of awareness grow thinner and thinner and thinner until it is no longer there at all, and in its place is something warmer and deeper and utterly without edges. The way darkness is when it is kind. The way sleep is when it comes gently and takes you somewhere soft and far away from the ordinary world. The rain falls. The light turns. The sea breathes. And you sleep. The lighthouse keeps its watch. The beam sweeps out across the dark water and returns and sweeps out again. It has done this 10,000 times tonight. It will do it 10,000 times more before the morning comes. This is its purpose, and it does not tire of it. It does not grow impatient. It does not wonder how much longer. It simply turns and turns and turns. In the room upstairs, you sleep. Your breathing is slow and even and perfectly regular. The blanket has settled around you like something that has always been there. The pillow holds the weight of your head with gentle ease. Your hands are soft and open. Outside, the rain moves across the water in long grey curtains, barely visible in the dark, known more by sound than sight. The drops on the window have slowed slightly, still falling, but with a new patience, a new softness, as if the rain too has settled into the deep hours of the night and found its rhythm there. The sea rises and falls. The fire in the room below has burned down to a deep bed of embers, no longer crackling, just glowing, a steady orange heat that fills the cottage with warmth and that particular comfortable smell of wood ash and old stone. Thomas has gone to bed. His door is closed. His breathing is slow and regular in the dark of his small room. He sleeps the way people sleep when they are entirely at peace with where they are and what they have done with their days, easily, deeply, without struggle. The lighthouse above him continues its work. It always does. The night deepens. The hours that have no name, the ones between midnight and the first grey suggestion of dawn, settle over the lighthouse and the coast and the water like a second, deeper darkness. The world becomes very quiet. Even the rain seems to soften further, becoming less a sound and more a feeling, a presence, a continuous soft breath against every surface it touches. In the deep quiet of these hours, the sea is at its most itself. Its voice drops lower, becomes more private. The waves move with a slow, dreaming heaviness. Far out, beyond the reach of the lighthouse beam, the water is very dark and very still in the troughs between the swells, and for long seconds at a time it seems to pause and hold itself before gathering the energy to lift again. Everything breathes slowly here. Everything rests. Hours pass. The rain continues, softly, patiently, without end. The lighthouse beam sweeps its slow arc, one revolution at a time, marking the passage of the night in its own private language. The sea breathes. You sleep. Somewhere, far away, the faintest suggestion of light is beginning to gather at the edge of the sky. Not dawn yet. Not even close. Just the first, barely perceptible easing of the dark, a softening at the very horizon where the sea meets the sky that you would not notice unless you knew to look for it. The lighthouse knows. It keeps turning. It will keep turning until the light is no longer needed. And then, when the morning comes, slow and grey and gentle over the water, it will stop. And the sea will look different in the daylight, and the rain will either still be falling or it will have passed, and the world will begin again. But that is the morning. And the morning is a long, long way away. Right now, there is only this. The rain. The light. The warmth. The sea. And you, sleeping. Sleeping so deeply and so peacefully that nothing can reach you here. Nothing needs to. You are safe. You are warm. You are here. And that is everything.